Thank you so much for being willing to sit down with me today and share your story. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Craig Klisby. I'm from Wilmington, Delaware, and I'm a former DJ turned music journalist and advocate for disability rights, and just overall nerd and love superheroes and everything.
Would you feel comfortable sharing with us a little bit about your disability?
I'm one of a set of triplets, and me and my brother Matt were born with cerebral palsy prematurely. As my brother David was taken out first, our oxygen was cut off, causing the disability. So I have what could probably be considered by most as a mild case of CP, with walking around with stiff muscles and limping a little bit, but also being athletic enough to move around. I feel very fortunate to be able to find my way in an inaccessible world.
What is it like for you to live with a disability in Delaware?
It's challenging on some days and not on others. Every once in a while you'll still get little reminders that, hey, this isn't the journey of everyone else. The world is just they see you just a little bit different, because you just find yourself having to explain yourself to someone that's never met someone like you, or little things like that. But most days you feel like nothing's wrong at all. With modern conveniences like Uber and Instacart and everything that happened with the pandemic, making living at home more normalized, I kind of felt like part of the group more so. But there was a lot of discussion about voting and what's, mail-in ballots, this and that. There are certain people that have become discouraged because their polling place is not as accessible as they should be. Though they appear accessible to you and even me, they're not accessible to everyone. It needs to feel safe and accessible to as many people as possible.
So in what ways have you and your brother gotten involved in disability advocacy?
We are part of the State Council for Persons with Disabilities, which is kind of like a liaison to the legislative branch of the state. I've participated in local Senate and House lobbying and things like that. I was just at lobby day the other day. My brother Matt and I decided to be a part of that journey. Ever since Donald Trump got reelected, we were like, there's a lot of things happening on the national stage, with everything going on with the big beautiful bill and everything going on with budget cuts. There's things that we wanted to learn up close on the local level that would affect us or people we know closely, with hospitals and healthcare and things of that nature.
What have you discovered?
Everything is coming under examination. They are going after home health care and combing through it for possible fraud. So I've seen personally where that's affected friends of mine that are severely disabled, that need that home health care as a lifeline to live.
Absolutely. I locked in as soon as you said that, because that's the kind of stuff that I do every day with my patients in the hospital. I help to set up those services for folks so that they can get out of the hospital and go home and live their lives at home. And what I have noticed is exactly what you're saying. The resources, they get less and less and less each year. Right. And there's less and less providers each year. And what that means for folks, and what I'm hoping to help the people of my district to understand, is that when these kinds of things get underutilized and under-resourced, what ends up happening is people end up just staying in the hospital. Mm-hmm. And when they end up staying in the hospital, it costs the taxpayer, it costs Delaware Medicaid, it costs us more money, and it's wasted money. That's a lot of the kind of stuff that I want to work on. If we can fund the right things to get people out of the hospital and in their homes, I believe that investments in these kinds of targeted areas actually save the state of Delaware money.
Yeah, absolutely. The tough thing about it is it's everybody, I think, agrees that there should be some home health care, but to examine it with a magnifying glass. Meanwhile, billionaires are barely paying taxes, and these people are just trying to live. So it's like, get the money from somewhere else.
Staying on home health care, can you talk to me about like the kinds of people that work in home health care and provide these services?
Speaking as someone that has spent a lot of time in hospitals, and someone that has developed relationships with not only home health care, but I've had friendships with doctors that took good care of me over the years. I would say these are people that deserve better, and this includes home health care people that are just working and doing their best on a very full day. Like, they'll go from client to client, house to house, and spend the whole day taking care of someone and then go and do it with another person. And they're very long hours. I would compare it to teachers that don't get full appreciation with everything that they have to deal with, the individualized attention that you have to give students. Every patient with home health care is like a customizable situation that with the accommodations that they would need. So it requires a very specific kind of accommodating personality. But these people do not get treated well with the amount of pay or just job security that they need to feel comfortable in their job, to be able to say, the people that I look after are safe and I don't have to worry about where my next check is coming from.
So we can't pay for services that are vital to the development and the continued sustainability of disabled persons, nor can we pay for the people who provide that service who already are working long hours and are underpaid for what they do. Mm-hmm. But a bunch of billionaires that use our lives like decimal points on a spreadsheet are getting richer and richer, and it's all paid for by a lack of services to your community and many others.
There's a lot of people on the national level that think because we live in a blue state that this isn't going to affect us. I would argue that with Republicans, if it's not affecting them directly, they don't always see how it's going to have a ripple effect on our society around us. They think they're doing the right thing, with the exception of obviously the more controversial elements of what Donald Trump says and does. There are people that think that they are doing the right thing, but they don't have that life experience to say, like, no, don't cut SNAP, don't shut down the government, don't do all these things that have a gigantic ripple effect.
And it's one of those things, right, where, you know, these people who don't know you, have never met you, are making important policy decisions that affect your lives and the lives of your community in such extreme ways.
There's an article circulating with ProPublica that's basically saying that certain disabled residents that live at home they're considering penalizing their SSI. The scrutiny of disabled children living at home is really horrifying. And there's kids with Down syndrome in the ProPublica article that are saying that this is the only money I have to have that flexibility, to have some dignity or independence. And it's not even that much money to begin with. Just generally how much people make from SSI is barely enough to live. You can't live off that.
It's not enough.
There is one person in there that just wanted the dignity to be able to say they paid their phone bill. That goes a long way when you're just trying to participate in life. And again, it's a reminder of these decisions are being done by people that don't understand how this is hurting someone that is just trying to live.
And it's absolutely obscene, right? Because we live in a country that is the richest country in the world.
Right.
And we have this growing wealth inequality that is favoring, it's not even the top 1% now, it's the top 0.1% that holds so much of our wealth and continue to drain wealth and resources from our communities, including our district, including folks like you, including folks who are vulnerable in other ways as well. And we just need to believe as a society that every single person, no matter what their ability or disability is, we all contribute to the beauty of our society in our own ways. And to not provide for people that have special needs, or to not provide for people with disabilities, it actually takes away from the beauty of our society because it keeps you from being able to participate in it.
Yeah, that's right. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit is a key thing. People with disabilities should have the security on a local level and a national level to be able to go anywhere in this country and feel like they're allowed to pursue their dreams.
I believe it's time for Democrats to get back to doing what they should be doing. I think we should be fighting for people like you. We should be fighting for everybody. We should be fighting for equal rights for everybody. We should be fighting to make sure that you have what you need to thrive and participate in society in a way that you find meaningful. So we have an election coming up this September.
Yeah.
On September 15th, in fact, our Democratic primary.
Right.
And there's going to be a lot of primaries this time. There's a lot of challengers this time. Let me ask you, what do you look for when you're squaring up a candidate, when you're trying to figure out who you're going to vote for? How do you figure that out?
Well, I think the reason why I'm here and the reason why I'm talking to you in general is we need a Democrat that isn't just a Democrat to play a centrist in this world that we're living in now. There's been a lot of damage that has occurred, so what I'm looking for is someone who is actually a little bit more progressive, because they've moved things so far to the right in this country that we need the pendulum to swing back the other way a little bit.
This is how I think we get through this. I think we need to get fresh eyes on our problems. I think we need to get new leaders. I think we need to get people who take that Overton window and just yank it back left. Like you said, the pendulum has swung and it's time to swing back. And I'm hopeful that here in Delaware, there's a whole slate of new challengers that are going to go in there and challenge the status quo. I'm one of many. Yeah. And I'm hoping that we all win our races. I'm hoping that we get down there to Dover and just get to work for people. No corporate money, no PAC money, no special interests, no nonsense, just good people that are ready to serve.
Right. No, we need this. This is becoming more time sensitive than ever because they're doing real damage that needs to be stopped.
If I win this thing, what kind of additional protections would you want me to fight for?
Anybody involved with running for office should have a good understanding of what the disabled community needs, where it's not questioned. Like, it shouldn't be questioned that someone needs home health care. It shouldn't be questioned that the disabled are one of the biggest affected by a government shutdown causing 42 million people to go off of SNAP benefits. These are things that should not be put into question, and what I need from someone like you or whoever wins is, yes, we do. We need someone that understands the purpose of why it's there historically and understand that we need more. The openness to have a dialogue about those things on a genuine level is the most important thing. Constantly be willing to communicate, and just transparency is key, and make sure you do that across all social backgrounds here in the state or in the district.
And this is a large part of what my campaign is about and what I'm doing. I'm trying to tell the stories that are very seldom told. Yeah. I'm trying to get folks out there to tell the people what's going on in our society so that we can come together as a community and fix it together, so that your community, it doesn't have to feel alone in its fight.
I appreciate that. One thing I like about you is you find that intersection between being a responsible person running for office and mental health and taking it seriously. Based on everything that's going on in politics today, I think people need to be reminded that character matters when making decisions, and having someone like yourself that has a background in psychiatry can approach a situation with the delicacy that it deserves and the sensitivity that it deserves.
Thank you.
Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility, and I think people need to be reminded of that, to serve responsibly and remind yourself why you're doing it. It's not about you, it's about them.
One of the quotes that really has stayed with me throughout my whole life, I actually went to a Jesuit college. Mm-hmm. I'm not even Catholic. I just went to a Jesuit college. And one of the quotes on the walls of one of their buildings was, "To whom much is given, much will be expected."
Absolutely.
And you know, we live in one of the most influential districts in Delaware. Yeah. We have a lot of wealth here. There's a lot of influence here. Yeah. And I think that for me, the way that I interpret that is that us as a community here in District 12, it requires us to speak truth to power. It requires us to take our influence and use it for good. It requires us to have a progressive slant, and you are exactly right. The Overton window has shifted so far to the right that our centrist Democrats are no different than the Republicans when we were kids.
We have gone from a world where George H.W. Bush signed the Americans with Disabilities Act, and then in 2016 the Republican nominee is making fun of a disabled reporter. We need to swing things back the other way.
In a big way. And I think it's going to take courage, right? I think it's going to take folks to get out there and learn about the candidates and vote. As we wrap up, is there anything that you'd want the people of our district to know about this election, about you, about anything at all?
There's a lot of things that you and I could continue to talk for hours, because I can tell we're on the same page with a lot of things. I'm here because it's important, and it's a reminder that even though it's a midterm election and Donald Trump will still be president, it's still important to know what's going on in your local government. Yes, it's a blue state, but there's a lot of things that are affecting everything on it because of the federal changes that are having a trickle-down effect on the local level. So get engaged, stay engaged on the local level, and vote your conscience and your hearts.
Craig, I want to thank you so much for being willing to spend your time with us today.
It's a pleasure.
The insights you've shared, I've learned so much, and I really appreciate you.
It's a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Thank you.